When was the first time you saw Rudy? You saw that movie, right? Yeah. What's the biggest message you got out of the movie, Rudy? What would you say?
Don't give up and don't let other people pressure you to not do what you love to do.
It's so important. Your key to dreaming is confidence. People don't care how smart you are. They want to know how much you care.
In all of our lives, it often comes down to one play that might last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. That's it. And it defines who you are for years to come. That's true with Rudy. However, to get to those 7 seconds, it took a lifetime of dreaming and believing when no one else did.
The name Rudy has almost become an adjective. When you watch ESPN or in Sports Illustrated, you'll hear a reference to a kid who doesn't play much, that plays hard. He's a Rudy. Everybody relates to that name.
Here's a guy would not take no. Rudy never ever allowed people to tell him, you can't make it at Notre Dame. You can't go to that school. You're not going to get there. He didn't allow that to bring him down.
Academically, I'm not supposed to be at Notre Dame. Athletically, I'm not supposed to be here. But when you're positive and you're positioning yourself now to win, the answer's right in front of you. My mother, early on, gave us dreams. And she says, dream big. But unfortunately, my dad thought differently.
He didn't understand the chance Rudy wanted to take in his own life.
You know, back then, everybody used to think he was crazy. He was so small, he didn't have the grades.
And telling all of us all the time, I'm going to play football at Notre Dame. Kind of pat him on the head and say, yeah, sure you are, Rude. No chance.
This is naval gunfire support.
Vietnam, my buddies are going over there and not coming home. I said, I'm not going to get drafted, I'm going to join. I see this lieutenant commander with a Notre Dame ring. I said, how do I get one of those? He says, if you want to go there, you find a way.
And that's when he came to South Bend with an impossible task.
Remember the priest in the movie said only Notre Dame candidates could walk on campus? I snuck on campus.
He boxed 1 year without being a student.
Here comes a guy that was 7 or 8 years older than most of the students who had learned to fight brawling in the Navy. That's when the Rudy chant started.
I had no option, either Notre Dame or nothing.
He was rejected more than 50 times.
If you get in the game, it's better than just looking. My dad would always say, that's for rich kids, great athletes. It's not for the Ruettigers. But I wanted to show him it is for the Ruettigers, for anybody who had a dream that was willing to work hard. The impossible became possible. Daniel Ruettiger, Rudy. I first got the dream about going to Notre Dame when I was a young boy, going to church and listening to the priest give the Notre Dame score and saw my dad's eyes light up. I'm one of 14, so that kind of gave a little bit of hope in the family. That's where the dream caught. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger as I got older. But unfortunately, I had a learning disorder, which I don't know how to handle. But yet, here's the deal. I never changed my goal, but I changed my process.
That's wonderful advice. Do you mind if we jump right into some of the student questions so we don't eat up a lot of your time?
Go ahead.
All right, this is from Jorge, and Jorge is, I believe he's in Spain. Jorge, you should be able to unmute. You had a very good question for Rudy. Go ahead, friend.
Yeah, so who was always with you when you were sad or with not confidence?
Say that, Rob, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so what he wants to know is who supported you during your
Okay, this is good, Jorge, that you asked that question because it's important to have good friends around you. It's very important to pick good friends. Very, very important. Pick the people around you that believe in you and you believe in yourself. And that's your support system. That will get you to the next level. When you pick bad friends, you get bad advice, you get bad feelings. But pick good friends, one, who have God in their life. That's very important because we're all children of God. And you get those people who are inspired, that are very unselfish, and those are the people that help you. Those are the people that help me, the very unselfish people that believed in themselves and believed in me. So it's by choosing the right friends.
That's great advice. Great advice. So Carla, you had either of the questions that you had, you can ask. Go ahead and unmute to ask. They were very good questions for Rudy.
Okay. Did your teammates support you, or you had to prove yourself?
Well, my family, not that they didn't support me, they saw my failures and they couldn't understand the big dream, which they were more in a protective mode. So you have to sometimes show them that hard work and get better each day does pay off. So your work ethic is very important. And you always love your family no matter what they say to you, because they're your family. And but that doesn't mean you're going to ask them for advice when they don't believe in where you're going, but show them love and they give you love back. That's all you need.
That's great. One of the kids wanted to know, what was that feeling when you feel like when you had that big play and that big moment in that Georgia Tech game? What kind of emotions came across when that happened?
Yeah, see, the preparation is what the key is to that. When you prepare for that moment, it becomes a very natural progression of the realization of the dream, which meant you are meant to be there. And that's through preparation, going through your preparation, like this is where it belongs. So it becomes a natural feeling. If you don't prepare, you won't have that feeling, therefore you will fail. But when you prepare, you will not fail. You will realize that this is where you belong, and you perform based on your work ethic, based on your preparation.
That's solid advice. Maureen, I believe Maureen's in France. Maureen, you had a pretty good question about his college courses. Go ahead and ask.
So what was your favorite courses in college?
Well, my favorite what?
Courses in college. When you were in school?
Courses in college?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, when you do go to school, this is very important. Always pick a school that you can connect to as far as academics. And I think sociology was what, of course, I could verbalize and talk, because that's what I like to do, and tell stories. And sociology was key for me. So sociology was very important major for me, because I got to express myself in many different ways.
One of our American teachers emailed me and wanted to know if you could talk about the importance of not listening to naysayers when you have a dream and trying to pursue that dream.
Well, first of all, naysayers will always be around you. That's number one. So you have to learn how to deal with the naysayers, but don't buy into what they're saying, but let it go in one ear and out the other. Dignify. Everyone wants to be seen in a positive light, but that light sometimes doesn't shine through them. But yet, what they're lacking is self-esteem. So when you build them up, they don't become naysayers anymore. Don't respond to their naysaying. Just keep doing what you're doing. You end up inspiring the naysayers. That's the key. So that energy that you have for your dream, don't allow them to steal that joy from you or that feeling from you, but keep working hard. The key is work ethic. The key is the process. Change your process, but not your goal. Very important. And you will see people will be inspired by that. That's very important. Naysayers will always be around you. They bully you and naysay you in different levels. Just know it will always be there, because they don't understand your passion or your commitment. But it's honor. It's the honor that's bigger than you. Honor that. Respect that. Respect them and they respect you. That's how you deal with that.
That's great advice. Great advice, especially nowadays. There's a lot of negativity, but it's good to, stay focused. Lena, you had a really good question. Go ahead and unmute to ask, my friend.
Okay, so I will ask you if you won't be able to play football, or football doesn't exist, what sport would you want it to play?
Great question. Baseball. Baseball was my dream. But I had a coach along the way steal that dream from me, telling me I wasn't very good. I believed him. So football became the next level, but baseball was the key. I love baseball, and I still love baseball today.
That is awesome. And side note, what is your favorite team in baseball?
My favorite team in baseball?
Yeah.
New York Yankees, because of the tradition and how they wear their uniform with pride. It's not so much the wins, it's the pride they have in wearing that uniform. That's why I love the Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees you can't go wrong with. So one of our American English teachers, they wanted to know, can you explain how does a movie get made about your life?
Well, a movie is made. It's very hard to get a movie made of your life. But when you have a message, movies become a lot easier to make, especially when you connect to the right people who love to write about messages and overcoming odds, the underdog type of feeling. People love that because that's what America is. We're true underdogs, and we're made from their immigrants, and we were all underdogs at one time. So we fight for that dream, we fight for that struggle, and that's why movies work when you have that story. And it's very hard to put that story together if you think it's about you. When you think it's about other people, that's when the story comes together. That's when the movie comes together. So you have to be very unselfish and make the movie about something bigger than you. So that's where it works.
That's great. And we have a few more questions, then we'll let you go. This is from Carla. And Carla, you are able to unmute to ask. Go ahead.
How did it feel like when they told you that they were going to make a movie about your life?
Well, they never did tell me they're going to make a movie of my life. I went to Hollywood to tell them we're going to make a movie of my life, which means I'm going to make a movie about their struggles too. So it was more of my idea, my ambition, me going out there. And when I finally got the okay from everyone, I fell right into the actors like Sean Astin, who I felt really was a pure example of the underdog, the naiveness that he had of a person. He leaped out on faith. He had that vulnerability to him. So he was kind of like the essence of that lead role. When you do have a story, you have to find that person who could actually exhibit that vulnerability and that faith when you leap out and take all the hits but get back up. So Sean was the perfect guy for that. And our whole casting was very important for that. So that's kind of like my story. The movie was basically meant for people to be inspired to keep moving forward no matter what, but keep their dream. But sometimes you got to be realistic with the dream. Like my dream was to play for Notre Dame. Now it became a contribution part of me to contribute to the tradition of Notre Dame. But I ended up playing because I acted like an All-American. I was no All-American. So my attitude was right. My actions only gave me 27 seconds. And it took 27 years to play 27 seconds. And it took 10 years to make the movie. But it all paid off with that belief level that this message is important. We all have a message. We're all children of God where we're on earth. Believe that. It's not about religion. It's about how you are connected to that spiritual side. And stay that way. You'll be fine.
That's great and solid advice. And if there's anything you guys don't know about Rudy already, is that he doesn't quit. And he's still like that today, which is absolutely amazing. Brianda, you have one of our last student questions. Go ahead and ask.
I wanted to know if you have any problem with your partners or with people in your environment because having dyslexia.
Okay, the audio was a little rough on that one. I'll read it. So he wanted to know what kind of issues did you encounter when it came to dyslexia and overcoming that?
Well, dyslexia was a gift, believe it or not. It made me focus better. It made me focus on what I can do, not what I couldn't do. So that became a very positive thing for me. Because when I didn't know what dyslexia was, and I thought maybe I'm stupid, when I found out I needed collaboration and help and ask questions for help, I found out that was the magic sauce, by having people smarter than me, better than me, and how they can communicate and ask them what things meant. And that, in fact, they even taught me how to read that way, which was very important. So dyslexia had a great vision, but I have problems with the detail of reading something. But it all came together when you start asking for help. You learn how to read them by understanding how to break down a paragraph, how to break down a sentence, and ask questions about it. So asking questions is very important. Dyslexia is a gift, believe it or not. A lot of your great leaders, a lot of your great inventors, a lot of your people, all dyslexic people work very hard at what they do, and they learn differently. So that's what I had to do, learn differently.
Learn differently. I love it. And Rudy's very passionate about education. And you guys check out Ruettiger.com. And if you haven't seen the movie Rudy, definitely check it out. I know it's my personal favorite movie of all time. We have the final student question, and this is from Joel. Joel, go ahead and unmute, and you can ask Rudy your question.
How did it come to your mind the idea of doing your own charity?
Where did it come from?
I think it's being very unselfish. You have to become selfless. That's the key. You got to help other people fulfill their goals and their dreams by you becoming very selfless. And that's the key to charity, is when you have that type of attitude. And it comes through a lot of disappointment, comes through a lot of challenges, and a lot of setbacks. When you learn that setbacks are your opportunity, and then you learn, hey, I need to help people. So that's where the charity comes in. When people look at, oh, I don't have much of a chance. Yes, you do. You're still here. You can work hard. You can do something. You can contribute. You can commit to something, and you inspire them to do that. But here's the deal. You can go on the internet and go to Rudy Ruettiger, The Walk On, the documentary. That will explain a lot of the journey of why we did the movie, and also how we fought through those problems that we had. So Rudy Ruettiger, The Walk On, be a good documentary for you to watch. It's on Amazon Prime.
Wonderful, and it won an Emmy. So it's a Emmy award-winning documentary.
Yes, it is an award-winning documentary, but more importantly, Ruettiger is spelled Ruettiger. Ruettiger.
Yep, and that's in the chat for everybody to check out, and we'll also have it in the video when the footage is done being processed. So Rudy, the final question I ask this to all of our guests: is there any advice that you could give to these kids as they go off into the world and figure out what kind of path they want to lead?
Yeah, show a lot of love, man. Show what's in your heart. Love is the key, and the commitment you have to go with the dream that you have, and work ethic. That's work ethic, and gets better each day. Just believe you can do something better each day. That's the key. So that's your purpose. Having a purpose is the key. Now, listen, praying is important too. Appeal to the higher power. Whoever you want to connect to that, honor it. And you'll be surprised how dreams are really, they come in different levels, different forms, but they're real.